Okay, before you continue on and listen, make sure you completed investigation 1.2 part A with the vocabulary before moving on to this video. So if this activity you've already completed, go ahead and let's continue to listen. All right, so this continues on. Instead of having a graph, we're going to look at a table. Okay, same thing, we're dealing with rectangles with a fixed perimeter. All right, so what is the fixed perimeter for the rectangles represented by this table? Right, make sure you explain your thoughts using words or math depictions, right? Okay, so really I can just look at, right, length of one and area of one, because of course 0, 0 doesn't really help me that much, because anything times 0 can be 0. So I'm going to look at the length of 1. So if the length is 1 and the area is equal to 11, well, the width has to be what? Right? If length times width gives me area, I know that my width needs to be 11. Okay, so if I have a length of 1 and a width of 11, well, again, you're adding up all four sides. So I have 1 plus 11 times 2, which gives me, of course, 24. All right. And so for B, what is the greatest area possible for a rectangle with this perimeter? And then what are the dimensions? Well, again, if we're reading our graph, we see 36 is our highest. So 36 meters squared is the greatest. And again, looking at my dimensions, and we kind of talked about this in the last video, right? Squares give us the greatest amount of area. So 6 times 6 gives me 36. So it's a 6 by 6 rectangle. All right. Okay, so these next two questions are dealing with estimating possible values using the table. Okay, it's not going to be very exact because, again, we're estimating. All right. And so the first one, right, so now I'm going to go ahead and make sure I erase the rest of the chicken scratch on the table. Okay. And it's saying estimate the dimensions or rectangle with this fixed perimeter. So we know the fixed perimeter is 24, right? That's a fixed perimeter. And so the area has 16 square meters, okay? So knowing if it fits within the fixed perimeter, it has to fit somewhere within this table, right? So if it has an area of 16, I know that it's going to be between, right? It's going to be approximately between 1 and 2, which means it's going to be the length is approximately 1.5, right? So if the length is approximately 1.5, well, what does it mean the area should be? So you're going to get, right? And you can kind of, again, figure out, well, if the length is 1.5, the width, right, has to, again, be added to the length, multiply by 2 to give me the perimeter. So my width is going to be about 10.5. Okay. And of course, if we did 1.5 times 10.5, we don't get 16. We get approximately 15.25. Okay. Right. So that's how we would be able to use the table to estimate. All right. And then same thing here. D is supposed to be a rectangle with its perimeter has an area of 35.5 square meters. What are its dimensions? Again, so I'm actually going to do this in green to mark it. It's 35.5. Well, it's going to either be between, right? So it could be approximately 5.5, or it could approximately be 6.5. Right? Would be its length. Right? So if we went with 5.5, right? And of course we can kind of figure this out because it is between two different lengths. I know the other one can be its width. So the dimensions of this is a 5 by 5.5 by 6.5 rectangle. Right? And again, we know that's not actually equal to 35.5. But again, we're just using our knowledge of our table. Okay? Right? And so this one, our area would be 35.75, right? So again, approximation, it's pretty close to 35.5, again, based on our table. All right. Okay. So now looking at this big question, okay? So it's asking, based on yesterday and today's assignment, describe the change in the area as the length increases by 1. Then you're going to compare this pattern of change to those that are linear and exponential functions. Right? So we're first going to just tackle what's happening. Right? So we notice, okay, so it increases by 1 in its length. Right? It increases in its area. And it keeps doing this right? This is plus 7, plus 5, plus 3, plus 1. All right? But then we hit 6. And so 6 to 7 is increasing by 1, but we actually went down. We decreased. Right? And that continues to happen all the way to the bottom. Right? And actually this time, I'm starting to decrease. Sorry, that should be a negative. That should be subtraction. Right? And we actually start to decrease the amount we initially increased. Right? So what you can write for describe the change, right? So you can say, I'm actually going to type this out so you guys all can read it. So as the length increases by 1, the area increases until the length hits 7. Then the area starts to decrease as the length increases by 1. Right? And that's what we saw happen. All right? And then comparing this to the pattern of change for linear. Well, first of all, linear, right, goes up or down by a constant rate or a slope. And exponential increases or decreases by growth, or of course we know a decay factor, right? But neither of these functions, if you think about it, increase, then decrease, right? We know it only, and this is when I'm actually going to draw, right? So we're going to compare, move this up, right? And if you can compare, right, linear versus exponential versus quadratic, right? Linear increases by a set amount, right? That is our slope. Our slope is tiny little steps up, right? It's a constant rate of change. It does the same thing if it was a negative slope, right? Same thing, a constant rate of change. With exponential, we knew it rapidly went up and it continued to go up, right? If we think about the example of the rubas consistently went up, right? The amount never decreased. Well, if we look at decay factors, right? How long it takes for certain things, right, to decrease in its value, right? Decaying. But again, it's still that set amount. Once it starts decaying, it doesn't automatically go back up. Well, with quadratics, we're noticing that we're increasing. We hit, right, a certain point, and then we start decreasing, right? And we're going to see the same thing if at one point we start decreasing, we can start to increase once we hit that point. You notice that linear and exponential don't do that, okay? And we also can notice that some functions will start to even be more erratic with changes, all right? So this is just the walkthrough for today. I hope this was helpful. Tomorrow you're going to just be practicing some ACE questions to see if you can do this on your own.